I call to order the regular board meeting, GCC 12/10/24 at 4 p.m. Welcome, everyone. Roll call. Mr. Mark Anderson.
Here.
Mr. Harry Blanc.
Here.
Mr. Bruce Mandrek.
Here.
Mr. Jack Turner.
Present.
Lily Campbell, present. All members of the board are present and accounted for. Do we have public comments?
We have no public comments, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay. Welcome, everyone. It's so good to see you. Thank you for being here. And again, I want to publicly thank the Virtual Academy for the lesson we just had. So I want to go on record saying thank them for showing us how the program works. And it was very informative, and we appreciate all the work that they're doing. So thank you. And so with that, we will continue with our board meeting agenda. Superintendent, do you have updates for now?
I do. Thank you, Madam President. Good afternoon, President and members of the board, as well as everyone that's here. I want to welcome you tonight to our board meeting. First, I would like to just start off by thanking the board for your flexibility and adjusting tonight's meeting start time. This will allow staff, as well as many of us, to attend the Twin Rivers Unified School Board meeting this evening. At tonight's meeting, we will be having the public hearing for the charter renewals for our Higher Learning Academy and Futures High School, as well as the material revision for Sava Twin Rivers. So looking forward to, I think, a very exciting night. It's been a while since we've had renewals, but they're back. So I'll just leave it at that. But a lot of hard work has gone into the renewals, from the writing submission of the document, and want to affirm Mr. Taylor for that work, to a lot of the advocacy work and reaching out to board members, and I want to affirm Assistant Superintendent Elliott for that work, and then really pulling together our educational program, Assistant Superintendent DeCoy, and couldn't do this without our principals, both Mr. Coonan and Mr. Luevano. So looking forward to what I think will be an exciting night tonight. And I say exciting meaning a fun night, not any, no drama, people, no drama, a fun night.
Okay, we hope so. All right. You tell us that.
I would also like to just take this opportunity to wish our own very own Mr. Block a happy birthday. He just celebrated.
Just did this.
I'm on the 28th.
Okay. So he says he's 28. We'll leave it at that. Happy birthday. Few things I want to highlight tonight. First, our students from Futures and Sava recently were showcased regarding artificial intelligence during Dr. Gold's presentation. Dr. Gold did a presentation called Leading on the Edge. Did I get that right, Heather? Artificial Intelligence as Your Educational Partner. And this was hosted by SCOE. And so want to affirm Dr. Gold, as well as our students from Futures and Sava. Over the past few months, I've had the opportunity to attend some impactful conferences that brought together educational leaders from across the state. The first one, I attended the AXA conference in San Diego, the Leadership Summit. In addition to attending the Leadership Summit, also had the opportunity to attend the Superintendent's Council meeting at that. And then shortly after AXA, came back to the CSDC conference here in Sacramento. Very valuable. This is the annual conference that Eric Premack puts on, and a lot of wonderful information. A number of us here went to that conference, and Dr. Gold, and I say Dr. Gold and there is a joke behind that, presented on AI, but really Dr. Gold presented on AI. I was the human being that was there to pass out papers. We'll call it that. But really a great opportunity. We also had, through Thrive, an opportunity to host a site tour of Futures and HLA and talk to them about the Portrait of a Graduate and the work that we're doing. So really was excited about that kind of hands-on opportunity to be part of the conference. After this, I will share with the board a video that was highlighted at the conference. We were highlighted due to some of our facilities work, so we will share that here shortly with the board. Also during this time, some of you know that I started a pastors advisory council and meeting with our pastors. I've had the opportunity to visit a number of our pastors' churches over the last few months. Spring of Life, which is a Ukrainian church, and Sergey's going to nod to make sure I get the right ethnic outline, and then Ark of Salvation, which is both Russian and Ukrainian, Moldovan and Belarusian, and then also had the opportunity to visit St. Andrew's AME Church, which is an African-American church. I'll get that one correctly.
You got that one correct.
And it was that's our board president's church. And then on this weekend, Sergey and I had the opportunity to visit Bethany, which is one of the larger Ukrainian, Russian. It really has all of the cultures there this past Sunday. So I want to thank both Sergey as well as Ms. Gonchar and others who have helped to put this together to be able to go and visit and talk about our schools and the Portrait of the Graduate and the work that we're doing. We continue to look at connecting our students to workforce opportunities. Director Ashley Madden represented GCC on a panel discussion at the California Mobility Center. Is that correct? All right. The panel focused on Sacramento's manufacturing industry and strategies for connecting high school students with workforce opportunities. Director Madden shared innovative ideas on engaging students in today's workforce pipeline. So want to again affirm her for that work. And then finally, as the holiday season is upon us and many of our staff will be taking a well-deserved break here in the next few weeks. Our schools will be closed to give students and staff and families time to relax and recharge and create meaningful memories together. With 3 weeks, believe it or not, left in 2024. Our staff is continuing to be dedicated to finishing the year strong, supporting our students, and making the most of the time before the holiday break. And you will see, board, a list of some of the upcoming events that will be happening in our schools. So I want to take this opportunity just publicly to wish everyone a happy holidays. And but we still have 3 weeks to go, so let's not rest too much. And at the conclusion of the video, that will be the conclusion of my report. So enjoy the video.
Gateway Community Charters, we are what I really call a family. Really accomplish a community that is built on the needs of our neighborhoods. We had a vision. We knew we wanted this to be a great place to re-engage students in education. Our whole goal here is to love, to teach, to guide. And most of the students that walk through our doors, they've had struggles, they've had challenges, and we knew that we had an answer to help them re-engage in education.
I believe that how beautiful, how nice this facility is what gave my kids the passion and the desire to come to school.
For charter schools, it's so much harder to create the types of facilities we want for our students, the types of facilities that our students deserve, because we don't receive any funding to support these facilities. Anytime we give a tour at our campus, people always ask, how do you start? And I say, start with what you have. Where we're standing right now is a former room on a decommissioned military base, but we've turned this into classroom space. What we've tried to do is we've looked at what we have and we've turned it into what we need. When we open up a new school or a new wing or a new branch, whatever it is for one of our GCC locations, we pay for it 100% out of our general fund dollars. If you have the right leaders in place, the right team in place, there's always a way to make it happen. Don't ever say you can't, because this entire campus that you see here today was created from next to nothing, with very little funding, very little staffing, and today it's thriving and creating great outcomes for students.
It's definitely not just a building, it's an atmosphere, and everybody can come together and have a great day.
Regardless of what funding level we're currently at, regardless of the resources we have, we find ways to make it happen because we know our students are worth it, and that the more we put in and invest in our students, the better outcomes they're going to have.
We are doing amazing things with what we have, and we have been very strategic with our funding, as I know many of our charter partners across the state also have done that. But can you imagine if we had equitable funding, just like our comprehensive school district partners, how much more we could do together?
So this was, you can imagine seeing all of this on the big screen at the conference, but really proud of that work and the message that we hope that it got across. And with that being said, Board, that is my report tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Board members, any comments or questions or anything? Thank you again for your hard work and the exposure that you bring with GCC to the community and within the state, as a matter of fact, because you are there letting everyone know what it is that we do and how we do it. So thank you. Okay, no other comments? We shall move on to our consent. We do not have a study session this afternoon.
No study session.
No study session. So we will be moving on to our consent agenda items, board members. And for the people who are here, the consent agenda items are adoption of the GCC board meeting minutes of 11/12/2024, personnel consent agenda, purchases over $30,000, and transitional kindergarten early enrollment. You have all received the information in your backup packets, and so at this point, I will entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of the consent agenda.
Move approval. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion, any questions, or any comments on the consent agenda items? Hearing none and seeing no hands, roll call. Mark Anderson,
Yes.
Harry Block,
Yes.
Bruce Mandrick,
Yes.
Jack Turner,
Yes.
and Lily Campbell, yes. So the consent agenda items have been approved as submitted. And with that, we are moving into really the big item as to why we're here tonight. And that's the GCC first. But before we do, we have one other, it's just a matter of approval. In our personnel consent agenda item, it'll be just a second. We do have a new principal here that we want to introduce.
Yes. Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to ask Assistant Superintendent DeCoy if she would come and introduce our new principal to our team.
Good evening, Board President Campbell, directors, and Superintendent Sample. It's my pleasure to introduce to you tonight the new principal for Gateway International School, Mr. Michael Maida. So I just want to share with you a little bit about Michael. Michael has been in education for more than 15 years. He has a bachelor's and a master's in physics. He has been a science teacher. He has been the vice principal of instruction in the Bay Area. And he was the new vice principal of GIS, but quickly moved into this new position. And so we're so excited to have him. He is skilled in curriculum development, project-based learning, differentiated instruction, and experience in creating professional development for teachers. But most importantly, he embodies our IB attributes of being open-minded and caring. And the students, the staff, and the families are really excited to welcome Michael as the new principal. And we just appreciate the board's support in this process. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and welcome, Mr. Michael. Are you in shock that you moved from vice principal to principal so fast?
Went right there, huh?
You're right
A
there.
little bit in shock, but very excited, and I feel very honored to have this opportunity. And I'm looking forward to the next chapter of growth and evolution for the school.
Well, thank you so much, and we're looking forward to working with you and having you as the principal of GIS and carrying on the great work that has been at GIS, and I needed to say that because GIS has done some great work along with our other schools, but right now we're talking about GIS, so thank you very much. Okay, Thank you for being with us today. And now we are ready for our GCC first interim budget and financial report. So anything you want to say before we bring you in? Thank you, Ms. O'Meara, for being here. Thank you.
Yeah, it's working. Okay. So I'm going to present to you guys the GCC first interim budget and financial report. Good evening, and let's get started. So first of all, I want to give thanks to our principals, directors, assistant superintendents of Ed Services and Human Resources for collaborating with us, working with us in terms of trying to understand what's happening at the sites with staffing and services. So thank you all, and specific thanks to the budget team. So Valerie Rogers, Director of Business Services, Yvonne Grazer, Supervisor of Fiscal Services, and Cindy Ponikvar, our Budget and Financial Analyst, and Drew Gibson, our other Budget and Financial Analyst. If you're here, I don't see the, Valerie's here, so thank you all. And Yvonne is here. You didn't wave. Okay. So just a quick overview of what we will be going over tonight is the introduction, which I just did, the local control funding formula, also known as the LCFF, enrollment and average daily attendance, the unduplicated pupil percentage, our revenues, our expenses, our fund balance, and then components of ending fund balance, and then lastly, our risks. So a quick introduction of what the first interim budget is. It's required that we submit this to the board, and it includes your original adopted budget that we adopted in June. Your board adopted operating budget is the same as the original because that's the last one you approved. Your revised budget, which is your first interim, which is your current revised numbers, and then your expenses or actuals through October 31st of 2024. This presentation will focus on the comparisons between the adopted budget and our revisions for this interim. Additional details are also contained in the 400 and some page document or book. Okay, so to start, we're going to talk a little bit about the LCFF revenue and what are the components of the LCFF revenue. So part of the assumptions or criteria that goes into the LCFF is the COLA of 1.07%. Supplemental and concentration grants are 20% of the base grants and 65% for concentration. You have to have a UPP above 55 to qualify for the concentration grant, which we do for all our sites. There's also a grade span adjustment of 1,043 for K3 and then 316 for 912. There are several components to the LCFF revenue. You have your LCFF base, which is your general fund dollars. You have your LCFF supplemental and concentration. Those we track separately, so that's another category. You have EPA, or Education Protection Act, and then property taxes. So that's really the different categories or components. Once you get the calculator and figure out what your numbers are, it's split by these categories. The main source of our revenue is LCFF, and it's really driven by the ADA and your unduplicated pupil percentage. So those combined with the assumptions make up what this calculation is. Our MYP LCFF assumptions for COLA are 2.93 for the 25-26 year currently, and 3.08 for 26-27. We'll get revised numbers come January for the governor's January revised school services workshop. So once we get those will be updated for second interim. Okay. Taking a look at the enrollment and ADA changes from adopted to first interim. For the most part, for the exception of 3 sites, we were pretty pretty ballpark on our numbers. CCCS and Sac City had drops to enrollment as of our conservative adopted numbers. We do have an increase for COA. We did anticipate there was going to be growth due to the CalFit, but it was more than we had anticipated with all the wait list and trying to fit children into or students into classrooms. So that's where we're at with enrollment. Your ADA is pretty consistent to the enrollment numbers. This will increase ADA by 29.75 overall with our organization. Again, for most of our sites, these are all-time record highs. As an organization, we've hit another year of record highs. So I think this is like the third year in a row. Okay. Like I mentioned, the unduplicated pupil percentage is also a significant part of our LCFF, and you can see the changes. Obviously, these changes are based on the demographic of students and families that attend our schools. So we send out a survey every year, an income survey, and it gets filled out, and these numbers are updated based on that data. This is a slide on our general fund revenues. The biggest change between adopted, or the change between adopted and first interim was 15.8 million, and I'll go over those details on what that is comprised of. You can see from the pie chart, 69% of our revenue is LCFF. Due to a grant that I'll talk about in the state, you see that 21% of other state is actually larger than usual. Usually LCFF is a little bit larger of the whole components of revenue, and state is not usually as big, but we'll go into that in a little bit. Some of the impacts to the LCFF revenue, which we just saw was about 375 or 76,000. Was the increase of LCFF. That's due to the AEA being 29.75% high, or 29.75 student higher ADA. The unduplicated has increased for 6 of our LEAs and decreased for 3. Our COLA is 1.07, coming up with the total impact of increase of 376,000. So that's what drives that increase. Now I'm going to talk about our federal. Our federal revenue increase of 623,000 is primarily made up of our carryover, our unearned revenue that carried over from prior year. And we also had a decrease in federal IDEA funding. At adopted, we had used our previous calculation of 160.76 per student. It has changed to 140, so we brought those numbers down. So it's a net effect in that $623,000 number. Our state revenue increased significantly, so that's the one that is driving the majority of the increase in revenue, and that is the California Community School Partnership Program. We have 3 consortiums. One is with CCCS, the other one is Futures, and the other one is Sac City. But they service all our 9 LEAs, and it's $11.2 million to be spent down over 5 years. So we'll kind of see that there's going to be an increase to fund balance. It's mainly restricted, and it's mainly part of this grant. Our dual enrollment at adopted, we had only concluded our carryover or accounted for our carryover. This is an increase of another $500,000 due to the increase of that particular program. And then the remainder of the increase is due to carryover of unearned revenue that has moved from one year to the next, and that's some of our CTE grants, CTIG, or Career Technical Education Incentive Grant, and our Strong Workforce Program. The other one that has some carryover is our Universal Transitional Kindergarten, not as much as the other 2, but still part of the equation. Our local revenue has increased to $689,000, primarily due to the accounting of Q1 E-rate and looking at what that will be for the year. We also got a grant this year that was not recorded at adopted for children and youth behavioral health incentive. We do have a bigger grant that was recorded last year. This one is a local one through SCO. So Sacramento County Office of Ed, we've partnered with them, and they wanted to see if there was anybody interested in additional funding, and we decided to apply for it. So we have another 100,000 there. And then we've also secured a CrossFit pathway for our Sava site of $10,000 through a local distributor. Our general fund expenditures have increased to $8.4 million, primarily due to the implementation of the grant that needs to happen in the first year. So that's primarily where we see some increases. I'll go into more detail on specific increases that we see. So I'm going to go on to the next slide. Our certificated salaries decreased by $1.7 million. That is due to unfilled positions that we are now contracting through Scoot, Swing. A lot of our special ed positions have to be contracted out just due to their specialty. We have to use certain vendors to provide speech and language, occupational therapy, et cetera. So those are coming out of the services, professional services category. Our classified salaries has increased by 1.3. So trying to peel away what this increase means, a lot of our sites are moving away from contractors for ELOP and trying to hire in-house. So you see a little bit of a change in that category in that program of trying to hire in-house staff to support that program. Also, the California Community School Partnership Program, we've hired paraeducators for special ed, but for the California Community School Partnership Program, we've hired a clerk, and we've hired a couple of community engagement specialists to support that program. Our benefits have increased $853,000, partly due to the health and welfare cap that was board approved to 7%. So normally we have a 3% increase at adopted for each year. Because we had it at 7%, we had to change those categories. Also, there's fluctuation when you start the new year. At adopted, we're going off of the data that was there for the prior year. You have people resign, new people come in. They might take more health and welfare or not take it at all. So this is an area, especially with certificated and classified, also you see changes in placements, resignations, new hires, and things change and fluctuate in these categories, especially from adopted to first interim. Our books and supplies of $3.2 million increase due to the implementation of that California Community School Partnership Program. So it's partly that, and just looking at the actuals and seeing where we are with our spending. Ooh, I think I pressed the wrong button. Oh, there we go. Oh, but then I went too far. Okay, there we go. So we're on to services and other operating expenses. Like I mentioned, the increase in this category is there because of the vacancies that we're seeing in the certificated category. We have Scoop filling in for a lot of these positions, and also special ed contracts that are filling in for hard-to-fill positions, and also transportation. As we started the year, we did have historically what we know transportation has been in the past, but there has been site increases in transportation due to access of program to pathways, to CTE pathways. So we do have some contractor that we use, Hop, Skip, Drive is actually who we use to allow students to be able to access from one SAVA to another SAVA, or from CCCS to the CCCS main campus to be able to access our CTE program. So that is why there was an increase of 2.5 at the beginning of the year. I don't budget these because we are budgeting 100% of our salaries. That includes vacancies. So you will see a shift every year potentially of savings at first interim, and then increases to this category due to unfilled positions. Capital outlay increase 4.9. Historically, I don't budget as much at the beginning at the adopted budget. One, because we have programs that we still haven't gotten awards for, and so we're very conservative at adopted budget to ensure that we don't over allocate capital outlay. And then as we start the year and we start getting a notification of grants, for example, the CTE, the CSI grant, and others, we wait until those materialize to be able to see what we can afford, what things can be moved around once we get more money allocated to us. So the capital outlay category is always pretty conservative at the beginning of the year, and then as we find out what planning we can afford and what needs the site has, then that's when we allocate dollars to this. So for CCCS, we had a CTE renovation of a classroom area. For COA, we have the Dudley C playground development. We have a field coming into play at the RDP campus, so that's for both for Futures and HLA. We are looking at HVAC for classrooms in warehouse spaces for Savasac City. They currently do not have and are not designed to have HVAC in those areas, and so they're either really cold or really hot during the winter and summer months. We're working with San Juan on a portable project at GIS. We are working to look at building a bathroom outdoors for EPIC for the playground. And for Sava El Grove, there's a greenhouse pathway that they recently purchased the greenhouse for. There were also renovations outside for student waiting areas and a staff kitchen remodel that was needed. Okay, we're getting close to the end. Our fund balance. The beginning balance is the change from unaudited actuals to now first interim. So not unaudited actuals, I take that back. It's from estimated actuals. So at estimated, we had decided, or we thought we were going to be at 73.9 million in terms of our ending fund balance. We actually came in higher at 78.7. And that is how you can also see the difference between all the carryovers that we're seeing in the revenue, right? This is the carryover that you don't see at adopted that you're now seeing also in the revenue side. So that's the 4.7. The increase-decrease portion is what we are banking revenue minus expenditures. So that it has increased 7.4, and that's really due to the CCSPP program, which is that California School Partnership Grant. The reason that it's not the 11.2 is because we are spending the first year of revenue. This is going to be after the fact, right? So it's after you close the books, we're anticipating we're going to have 7.4 million left over to add to our fund balance. And at the end of the year, we'll have 12.2, which is reflected in the ending fund balance component. Our components of ending fund balance are going to end at 79.1. And so here are the different categories of where the money will fall. 12.9 of it is going to be sitting in restricted programs. So that CCSPP program that is new this year, dual enrollment, block grants, all the different programs that will have ending fund balance are part of this 12.9 million. The non-spendables is your prepaids and your revolving cash account. So that's 326,000. You have a facility set aside. I'll skip the facility set aside above 15%. That's always whatever is left at the end. So we have 3 categories that we maintain at all times for all sites, and they all meet them at this point. So we have a facility set aside of 15%, that's 18.8. We have a reserve for sustainability, that's 10% of each site's expenditure. and reserve for economic uncertainty of 5%, and that's 6.2. So those numbers are percentage of expenses. So whatever the expense is, they set aside 15, 10, and 5%. A total of 30% per LEA is set aside and basically not touched unless we have approval from our CEO. Facility set aside above the 15% is what the sites and the LEAs are allowed to, with approval, of course, to move forward with any facility needs that they have at the site. So some of these renovation costs that we were talking about, for the most part, are some of them are coming from this and some of them are coming from the operating budget. Okay. And then the percentage of total ending balance on the other end, the pie chart, shows you what component of the overall 79.1 thousand components, what percentage of it is in each of the categories. Some of the risks that we're seeing in this particular interim is with the elections, we have new administration, and obviously he has an agenda. There's proposals to close and drastically change the Federal Department of Education. And so that is something that we have to be paying attention to. We don't know exactly what that means yet to our local agencies and what it means to California in general. So we will continue to watch that and monitor it as things come up. The state economy, California state economy has a huge budget that is showing deficit. We are protected to a certain degree, but the state overall is not doing as well as they need to be doing, and so it could impact us one way or another. So we're watching that and paying attention to what kind of things the governor is doing to ensure that they balance every year. We continue to see compensation pressures across organizations trying to secure. As you can see, we still have unfilled positions, so there's a lot of competition with our surrounding counterparts, and so we continue to see compensation pressures. Our pension costs for CalPERS continue to increase, so just something to keep a watch on. Increase in interest rates. We have persistent inflation. We have slow growth. California gross domestic product is trending down. We also have geopolitical factors, so the Russian-Ukrainian war, Middle East conflicts, cyber attacks, and the U.S.-China relations are all things that impact and factor into the economy. Housing market is in a recession with low home sales and increased mortgage rates. Impact on local property taxes, what that means to us. Expiring one-time revenue sources, also known as the cliff. We're here. Our sites are experiencing it, and we will continue to address it moving forward. So that is it from me. I am open to questions.
Well, we want to thank you, and I know Mr. Jack is ready. Okay, we're ready for board comments and questions.
I must be getting a reputation. I've got to live up to it. I want to just say congratulations to you and your staff. Having dealt with school budgets, the complexity of dealing with 9 charters, and it has to be a constant channel. So please, as you opened up, it's because of the support you have that you presented a very readable budget, a very understandable budget. I need to say, when I first glanced at it, the adopted budget was 110 million, and then this one it was 125, and I immediately said, "Whoa, what happened?" And you have taken on another burden, the California School Partnership Grant, which is one of these things in which people will constantly be looking at the numbers and where the money is going and so forth. So I know that just adds to your workload. I have a question. Usually when you have either stable growth or as we're some growth at Gateway, the certificated salary schedule really kind of grows. And I understand we have unfilled positions. How many unfilled positions do we have? Do you know? Or you can find, if you don't,
We'll get that, but I think it's in the 25 to 30 positions. Some of them are interventions, some of them are special ed. Just in the special ed realm, we probably have about 10. So certificated, that's not counting paraeducators.
I will support any endeavor that just helps us to hire in the certificated areas so that we can fill those slots and meet the commitment that we've made to the community. Again, thank you very much, and I didn't ask that many questions.
Okay, but just to piggyback on that, I do know that staff, they're working very diligently to hire people for these positions, but it's not just GCC, it's all over. There's a shortage of teachers and staff all over the state of California looking for positions. So I just needed to say that. Yes?
Yeah, we have about, Jack, we have about 35 vacancies in certificated right now that are being filled with either contractors or subs.
Thank you. Last year, I want to say that the number I documented was 38. So it's pretty close.
Any, yes?
Well, I just want to comment on Jack's proposals. He took all my thunder, but once again, I do want to congratulate you. I certainly know the complexities of what you're up against, and it's a real challenge. And I think we have one of the strongest organizations in California, so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have other comments?
Was looking at this Children and Youth Behavior Health Initiative. What's going to be that? I mean, we're going to have a lot of inner staff and so forth, and this and that, what it's going to cost, because $100,000 is not a lot of money.
So this program, although it's really a lot of money, it's very specific use of dollars to really tackle the absenteeism. So that's what we're using it for. We're using it to look for services on how to partner with parents and families in terms of services they might need or looking for. Jason can probably speak a little bit more on it.
So I was going to share a little bit more. So the original purpose of the partnership with SCOE, this is the smaller one, the 100,000. It's really for mental health services. So currently we have a contractor who's a counselor who is working with our families. The CYBH grant was written directly for our refugee population to deal with mental health, stress, trauma, and that the 100,000 will be kind of what we call the next part of that, which will allow us to be able to start looking at Medi-Cal billing and being able to bill for some of our services. So it's a multi-part kind of system.
And as if you recall, last year, we had a large amount in our local component for Haluna Health. This is just another, more of that same money. Yeah.
Anyone else with comments or questions? Seeing none, hearing none, thank you. And would you please, let me see the staff that's here so we can appreciate you and thank you for the work that you've done.
Yeah.
That's not you. Take your hand down.
I have a comment.
You have a comment? Okay. Thank you so much. It's just that my little one back there raising her hand. Thank you, Ms. Yvonne, and thank you for being here. We really appreciate your hard work in getting this done for the board.
And
Yes.
Madam President, I want to personally also echo, really want to affirm Elmira for her work and her team's work in really getting the budget done through another system breakdown, but we actually were able to get it through the finish line. So I just want to affirm her and her team for getting that taken care of.
Right, so moving on, we are now down to board,
We need action.
oh, we need an action, yeah, that's right, thank you.
I move approval.
Move approval?
Second.
All right, it has been moved and second. Any other discussion? Anything? Hearing none? Roll call. Mark Anderson,
Yes.
Harry Block,
Yes.
Bruce Mandrick,
Yes.
Jack Turner,
Yes.
Lily Campbell, yes. And so the board budget has been adopted unanimously, the first interim. So, that's done. Thank you. All right, and with that, we are going to go to board comments before we move to closed session. Board comments? Any comments, board? Yes, Mr. Block.
I just want to talk about AI. They had a thing on 60 Minutes called AI in the Classroom Sunday. And I was hoping that everyone take a look at that because they was talking about how you can use it and so forth and this and that. I'm not going to go through it because that's take too long, so. But it's a good thing to look at and see where we're going with that.
Yes.
Also, I want to thank Virtual Academy. I got 4 grandkids in there, so I know I've been attending those meetings on the line. I've been into the classroom. I've been all around it. So I even been to some of the trips they went out on. So, it's a great thing for our kids.
I agree with you, 100%. Any other comments, boards? I think I went to something not too long ago at GCC. Yeah, that was the Care Fair. Yes, and it was very well attended and very well done. Thank you. I was glad to be there. So thank you for that. And I think that's it for now. And we're getting ready for our winter activities, and so we sign up for those. Board members, please. You have your list, so if you're able to attend some of the activities, please check your list and give it back to Miss Melissa. All right. And now with that, we are now going to move to closed session. Employee personnel matters pursuant to Government Code Section 54957. So we will be going into closed section and we will be returning to report out after closed session. Thank you again for those of you who are leaving. We appreciate your being here with us and have a wonderful, winter break. We are back from closed session, and we had information given to us on personnel matters, and we directed the superintendent to take the necessary actions for it. So that is what took place in closed session. And now, I ask, is there anything else, board, any other board comments?
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. And with that, nothing else, I will entertain a motion for, oh, the next board meeting, I'm sorry.
The next board meeting is going to be January 14th at 4:45.
January the 14th at 4:45. Okay. And other closing comments?
I move adjournment.
Move for adjournment.
Second.
And second, all in favor? Aye. The meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you.